What's up, traders? In this video, I'm going to be trading two different currency pairs live. I've got two different positions currently open, and I want to talk about why I have them open, my plan for what I'll do with them if they go well or if they go wrong, and then we'll also cover basically why I took the position in the first place. So stay tuned. Let's get into it right now. Hey traders, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nick, and on my channel, I share all sorts of Forex trading content. I am a trader that I've been trading for about 5 years or so. I also run a business where I service some traders, and on here on YouTube, I create content that hopefully is helpful to you guys who are actually learning to trade, or you're looking to trade and you want to see some real examples. When I was in the world of trading and trying to figure it out, or when I was a beginner in the world of trading, I really wanted to see somebody actually taking trades. And so now that I've actually been able to make some consistent growth in my accounts, I've started to make content where I basically show my trades on a regular basis. So I'm going to talk about this position that I have here on USDCHF. This is the first one, and then we'll also take a look in a moment at another trade that I have on CADCHF. So I have two Swiss trades right now that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about why I'm in them, as well as, again, where I'm looking to get out and that sort of thing, why I took them and that sort of stuff. So let's get into it. So the first one here is going to be USDCHF. And now dollar Swiss here on this chart has been showing some really strong signs of bullishness. Okay. What you'll notice here is that on the upswing, we've seen a nice movement up here. So we've seen price kind of finding support along this trend line along the bottom. Okay. And so recently I took a buy position right around here, and there's a couple more details to it, so we'll add on just a moment. But the first thing I want to cover is, again, we have this strong uptrending kind of channel, right? So what you'll see is that price along the top has been finding resistance, price along the bottom has been finding support, and the overall direction is up, right? So we see a lot of bullish strength. But I don't want to just buy something just because it is trading in a channel, right? That's not the only reason that I'm interested in taking any sort of buy setup. Okay, so I need a little bit more than that, and we'll get to exactly why. So that was the first reason, is we have this upward channel, and then we have an uptrend being our second reason. We have a pretty solid uptrend here on the 1 hour chart. We're currently looking at the 1 hour chart. I also looked at the 4 hour chart on this, but those are my two main charts, at least for this strategy that I'm trading here on the chart. So basically, that's the first component. But the next component is possibly another reason that is pretty valuable too. So let's take a look at it. So we've got this level right here. We have the diagonal, but we also have the horizontal. Look at how price basically found rejection in this area multiple times. What this is showing us is that this general area at the 97.17 area, we've seen a lot of resistance, okay? And so as price started to rise up to this point, we were seeing resistance again and again, right? And as we broke through that level, what does that tell us about that area on the retest? What that tells us is that now buyers have basically taken over this region. I always like to think of like an army in a castle, right? You have a castle, and basically, I know this is a cheesy analogy, but bear with me. If you have a castle and the blue team is in the castle and they're in control, right? And then the red team comes over and they say, hey, I want the castle, right? And they take the castle, then what happens? Well, now the red people are in the castle, the red team's in the castle, and now they want to hold it. Now they want to defend it, right? So they're not going to be so easy to let it go if some more blue friends come along and they want to be back in the castle, right? I know it's a very cheesy analogy, but hopefully the point is clear. Basically, if the buyers defended this level and they were able to break price above this level of resistance, there's a pretty good chance they want to hold that area on a retest. And so that's exactly what we saw. We saw price come back, retest this area, and shoot to the upside, finding again resistance along that trend line up top. Well, now this is where I got interested. So as price falls back down, I basically got long here right as price was starting to find support off of this buy zone. Okay, and you can see I wanted to get down here, but I was not able to get filled there. I ended up taking a position here along basically the breakout of this high, right? So we basically had the break here, and I took the buy trade there, and now that's basically the entry. The entry can be summed up kind of like this. We have a combination of a breakout retest, Okay, so we have previous resistance here, looking for it to turn support, right? And that's where I bought. And then we also have the upward trend line that I basically bought along as well. So we have support along the bottom from a diagonal surface, or at least from an uptrend. And then we also have the previous resistance turn support. Now, on top of this, there's one more reason that I took this trade, which is, and it is very similar to CAD Swiss as well, is the fundamentals right now. We see the stock market rising very nicely, which is very bullish. And things like the CHF, okay, the Swiss, during times of fear, people buy the Swiss. People tend to do the opposite when things are improving, right? We see the Swiss go down. People sell the Swiss when things are not going well. Same with something like the JPY. Okay, you have these safe haven, quote unquote, currencies where people are basically selling them when times are good and buying them when things are bad. Okay, and so right now the stock market is rising. So that gives me another fundamental reason why I'm more willing to actually sell the Swiss rather than be a buyer of it. I want to sell it and I want to go in favor of something like the US dollar, or I want to go in favor of something like the CAD, which we'll get to in just a moment. So this is my first trade that I want to talk about, and I'm targeting just kind of close to the previous high at this resistance zone here. And there's some consolidation in this general area, so I'm looking to just take profit there if we get up to that point. This is not a massive long-term trend. In fact, if we take a look at the pip movement, it's something like 36, 37 pips there, nothing massive. So we'll see if we can get that one to trade well. Second, we've got CAD Swiss, and CAD Swiss is an interesting one. We basically have this position on, we basically have a buy on a retest here as well. So what you'll notice here is that on the 4-hour chart, we've got a previous level of resistance, price retested that area, found support so far, and now we're looking to see if we can get some extension up to this point here. So what we'll do is, let me take a look at the daily chart. You'll see that we actually have a lot of downtrend structure here overall on CAD Swiss. Okay, so CAD Swiss though has an interesting point to it too. What you'll notice is that although this market has been severely sold off, as things have started to improve, this pair has done really well to actually form a strong counter trend. And this is another reason why I wanted to be a buyer on this, is I think that price has gotten quite extended to the downside. And I think it's very possible that we see a little bit more extension up to something like the 50% retracement, right? So we came down to the lows, from the high down to the low. We drew a fib from that point, and what you'll notice is that price is making its way back up, and the question will be, can we get an extension out to that 50% level, which happens to be pretty close to where my target is, which on this trade we'll see how many pips that actually comes down to being. Let's get our tool out here and we'll take a look there, and what we'll notice is that it is, in this case, about 101 pips on this trade, a little bit more of an extension. So we'll see if that one can play out. So the 1-hour chart looks pretty good. You can see we've got some bullish structure here. We do see some uptrend on this as well, just like we did on USDCHF, right? So if we take a look here and we clear out some of this stuff for just a moment. Okay, so one more thing we can notice about on the 1-hour chart is that we've got an uptrending pattern here, and we see the trend line just like we did on USDCHF. What you'll notice is that the trend line is pretty strong to the upside, and you can see we've got a lot of support holding along the way, and that was another reason that gave me some comfort in taking this buy position at the previous high, right? We swung high, we came low, we broke out, and we retested it. It also lined up with the trend line, gave me a pretty confident trade to the upside, and so far so good. We'll see if we can get that continuation. So what I'll do now is I will pause the video and I'll come back, whether it's a few days or a few hours, and we'll give an update on this trade. This is more of a swing trade, so we'll give it some time to play out and we'll see how it goes. Hey traders, so we just got done here with the USDCHF trade. I actually woke up this morning to see that we had locked in our full take profit in this area of resistance. A beautiful trade there. We basically caught the buy again in this low along the bottom of this range, looking for the continuation of the overall trend. Now, what's really cool here is that we basically got right in, generally in the right time. And what you'll notice is that not only were we right on our entry, but our exit was actually pretty solid as well, considering that we rose really nicely up to our take profit. We locked in that profit. Price went just shy of, just above our level of resistance that we talked about, our previous rejection area, right? And that's what we were using as our target before ultimately dropping back down really really hard to where we're at now, which is almost just about where we got in. I believe I actually got in right around the same area here that we overall, are seeing price at now. So really, really cool to see that. That was an awesome trade. I'm really happy that I caught that on camera, just because, we watched the trade from start to finish. We definitely saw the analysis play out here. And really, it's always really cool when you feel like you just got out at the right time. You feel like you didn't miss too much of the continuation. Although we're never going to be perfect, right? There was still some movement on the top that we missed, but for the most part, we caught a nice move. I'm going to say, I think it was just roughly in the area of maybe 40 pips, somewhere in there. I'd have to check, but overall, a really nice trade. Okay, so now if you remember, we also had this CAD Swiss trade on right here. So what you'll notice is that CAD Swiss is also really, really doing well. And what's kind of cool about this is that at this point, the CAD Swiss trade, the overall target here, I believe is right around 99, let's say 100 pips, right? We are currently up at this point, 67 pips. So we still have some distance to go. What will also, another way of saying that is that if we go from here up to the top, that means that we just have just about 32 or so pips remaining in before we can hit full take profit there. We're still seeing this trend line hold very strongly, so hopefully we can get there relatively soon. But again, overall, really cool to see dollar Swiss play out. This was my favorite trade of the week, definitely, and CAD Swiss is closely behind it. So we're seeing both of those trades work out very nicely. So that is basically today's trade. I want to make sure that when we go through these videos, I give as much detail as possible, but let me know in the comment section, was this helpful to you, and do you want to see more of these? If you do, make sure to smash that like button, and we'll try and make sure to make more of them. Just a real quick repeat. Basically, we had a level of resistance, we had a breakout of that level, a retest of that area with some slight consolidation, and when price started to break out, we got long, targeting the previous high here on the trade. Guys, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.